Well, well, well. JetBlue attempts a hostile takeover of Spirit Airlines. Crypto's crashing, and we are forever in blue jeans. It's great to have the band back together. Cowbell, how the heck are you?
Hey, good to be back, guys. Happy to be back in the saddle. Look at
Ooh,
this. We got
this is
the whole
good.
team together.
It's good. Godfather, always a pleasure.
Thank you. It's glad to have I'm glad to have the team back. It's pretty cool. Excited.
Yeah, Ben, what did you say earlier in pre-production? You said it was like what?
Oh, it's like the Beatles coming to America. It's like people, the fans
same.
they're losing it to have us back. I had to dust the old microphone off.
Did you get any autograph questions when you were in St. Croix?
I didn't. Unfortunately, I don't
paparazzi?
think we've made it. We've made our way down there yet. But trust me, I spread the word.
Good.
Hopefully we got some good fans down there now. In fact,
Awesome.
I learned some good tips while I was down there, financial planning advice. So I'll have to share that at some point. But
Oh, yeah. Well, what do you got? Anything good right now? Let's do it.
yeah. I'll tell you what's good. This is genius for me because I'm a millennial. I'm a total cord cutter as far as the internet, Wi-Fi, streaming, all that. No cable anymore. I hate commercials. Okay, but the problem is, of course, now I have Hulu, Netflix, HBO, Disney Plus. I've got them all
Yeah.
basically, and now it's like 3 times as much as just a regular cable package. So it's a problem that I have, but it's the convenience. I want the convenience. So we were talking about this to this couple we met down there, and they said, you should know this. You're a financial planner. All you've got to do is you get, let's say, Netflix. Okay, and you spend 2 months. All you do is you watch Netflix. You watch every good piece of content on Netflix, and then after you're done, you cancel it and you get HBO, and then you use HBO for a couple months, and you go through the shows that you want to watch, and then you cancel it. That's all you got to do. And I was like, how come no one's ever told me that?
Wow.
I should have known that.
Great idea.
But so don't fight the temptation. Just switch and or have them all so you can watch the new thing that
Yeah.
comes out right away. Save your money. Cancel and restart. I thought that was genius. Anyway, I told him I'd
Genius.
share it on the podcast. So
Oh,
Nice.
I love it.
I
Oh,
feel
that's
embarrassed. I
great.
didn't know that. I didn't think about that.
You know, I would say I periodically cancel things just at whim.
Yeah,
Going
yeah.
through. That's gone. Just
Yeah.
every so often.
Just 'cause it
I don't
feels
have a
nice.
good rhyme or reason though, unfortunately. My phone carrier does pay for our Netflix. That's nice.
What?
Yeah, T-Mobile.
T-Mobile. Well,
Do we get kickbacks?
that's
for
good
that?
advice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, no, I don't think.
Oh, I love it. Well, thanks for sharing that, Ben.
Yeah.
Of course, we've got the flight crew today. A tip of the cap to you. Welcome to the Pilot Money Guys podcast, or Flight 34. We're calling Forever in Blue Jeans. The flight crew is, of course, executive producer, financial advisor, Ben the Cowbell Dickinson. I threw the in there for you, Ben. And of
It mixed
course,
up
we
there.
have certified financial planner and all-around good guy, Charlie the Godfather Mattingly. Welcome, Charlie.
All right. Thanks, Rob.
Again.
Glad to have all of us back.
Yes. I'm your host, wealth manager, Robert, the Rubber Mallet Eklund, and we're excited to be here. We have a lot to cover, so let's get to it. Ton of aviation news since last time we chatted. So we got to kick things off. Cowbell, do you have anything on aviation news? We got the JetBlue hostile takeover of Spirit going on.
Yeah, that was interesting. Because Frontier was in the mix for a little while, I thought, and then all of a sudden, I think JetBlue just swooped in there, now they're taking over. It's
They're trying
crazy
hostile.
out here.
It's hostile. And you might be
It
asking
is.
yourself, what's a hostile takeover? It's JetBlue's going to the mattresses, as the Godfather would say for sure. But it doesn't mean they're going into Spirit headquarters in Miramar, Florida, like Mike Tyson, right? Swinging away.
Guns blazing, yeah.
It just means they're attempting a takeover of the target company against the wishes of their management, right? So they're going straight to the shareholders, and they're going to try to acquire the company that way, going direct to the shareholders, saying, "Hey, we got this good price. Let's go over." But speaking of Mike Tyson,
Oh,
he was he was on a JetBlue. No coincidence there, I imagine. And he's charged with an incident where he was about to take off on a JetBlue plane departing San Francisco International. After harassing passenger, threw a water bottle at him. He kind of threw some haymakers at him.
That was
but he's not going to be
very nice.
charged. He's not going to be charged because
I mean, the
whatever's
guy
going on.
deserved it. I mean,
Yeah,
look,
he
he
did.
was right in his face, and honestly, I think he deserved more. I think he should have gotten a few more punches, and maybe he would never do it again. Now
I don't think he's
like,
going to do it again. I don't
he's going
think
to be like a next like TikTok star or something. Like I'm the guy that got beat up by Mike
I
Tyson. on a
got beat up by
JetBlue
Mike
flight.
Tyson. One of
He
the
probably,
many.
I think he had that in mind from the start. Like, I'm going to get this dude.
Yeah.
I'm going to get
I'm
on
going viral.
TikTok or something, as Rob would say with his
Yeah.
followers.
Going on TikTok.
Yeah.
My mother-in-law.
Get
Rosa,
a
we
whooping
love
from
you.
Mike Tyson and go on TikTok and get famous.
Love it. Well, in other news, maybe we should have led with this one, but a passenger with no flying experience lands a plane safely in Florida. That's an incredible story.
It's
Rob, what does that
guys
say about
heard
us?
about
First of all, I'm a little like, oh,
Yeah, I didn't want
maybe
to
we're
get
not as
into
cool
that.
as we thought we were.
This is like-
man.
I mean, this is every time I'm in a commercial airplane. When
Yeah.
I was flying American, when I went down to St. Croix, I was thinking, if the pilot goes down, I mean, I'm on Pilot Money, guys. I don't know how to fly. Like, I can't help with this, but it would be, it'd be cool to,
And
to be that
it's like they
hero.
used to tell me, they used to say, Charlie, with enough bananas, we could teach a monkey to fly. So I was like, sweet, I think I can do it.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, so this guy, Darren Harrison, for those of you who don't know, grabbed the controls, pulled the plane after the pilot went unconscious or wasn't responding. He pulled the plane out of a nosedive and radioed air traffic control in Fort Pierce near Florida. And he said, I've got a serious situation. You guys got to hear the radio. Maybe we can put that in the show notes, the radio transmission.
I'll put a link to it.
He's like, my pilot has gone incoherent. I have no idea how to fly an airplane. And the air traffic control was able to, they did a great job. They eventually got an instructor on, Robert Morgan, to talk him down. But talk about cool cucumber, Darren Harrison. He said it was a life or death situation. Either you do what you have to do to control the situation or you're going to die. And that's what I did.
Wow.
And so he apparently reached over the incoherent pilot and slowly pulled back on the yoke of the Caravan, the Cessna 208, which is, shout out to Cessna too for making an airplane that, maybe a passenger could fly at least for a little bit.
Yeah.
So, but the landing was pretty sweet. Check it out, YouTube. What do you guys got?
On that's unbelievable. I would like to imagine I could do that, but I think there's no shot.
Oh, you could.
I'd get the shakes.
The biggest thing,
I might not have the nerves.
He was pretty, he was with it. He's like, I knew that, he'd been in enough airplanes. I think he was barefoot at the time too, because he's come back from a
Flops
fishing
or
trip, which
something.
is awesome. Yeah. He's nice and relaxed. But he's like, I knew we were going too fast, so I didn't want to rip the wings off. But I knew if I pulled up too much, we were going to go into a stall. So,
Wow.
I'm full of airplane. It just,
You know what? I heard this in, I think it was a Today Show interview. He did flooring at Sun and Fun in Florida. And so that's like so they were like, have you ever been around planes? They're like, how'd you know? He's like, well, I did flooring down at the Sun and Fun one time. So that's about as experience as you got. That's what I was
Certified.
amazing.
that's what I need. That's all I need. Yeah, he said the hand of God was on that plane. That's the only thing I can attribute it to. There's no other explanation for it. So, and he's married, I believe, with a baby on the way. So he obviously had some motivation to get down. Age 65 being reviewed. Might
Oh,
be going
my
up to
goodness.
67 or 68.
Woo.
It's crazy. Obviously, Congress is taking a look at it. We're going to see what happens. I don't know where you stand on that, Charlie. Some people are calling it a Band-Aid. They're just trying to fix what has been going on for a while.
Yeah.
They knew it was coming, and all of a sudden it's here. And they're like, oh, let's do something. So
Yeah. I think it's inevitable. I don't know. It says, I'm looking at Airline Weekly, Senator Lindsey Graham preparing to introduce legislation that would raise the retirement age for commercial airline pilots in the U.S. by at least 2 years to 67. And says he's in the process of building support among his colleagues in Congress before introducing the bill. And last time it was changed 2007, it went from 60 to 65. But I think it's inevitable. People are just healthier. The NetJets of the world, they're already doing it, Rob. And I guess, I don't know what's
as we
going
just
on.
talk about cardiac arrest.
That's right, exactly. Yeah, yeah, it's inevitable. But I guess they'll poll
I
the
don't know.
unions and ask them what they think. I don't know if that's to me, do you think window dressing, just like polling the pilots? Because that's what SWAP is doing right now. They're asking pilots, hey, what do you think? Vote on this. But is that window dressing? Is it going to happen regardless, is what I'm thinking. I mean,
Yeah, it could be. It could happen no matter what. Should it happen? I don't know. I mean, I think pilots don't have a very long life expectancy as it is. So, do you want to really work three more years? I think we're going to talk a little bit about that on this podcast. Forever in Blue Jeans, Flight 34. That's a tough one because I think hopefully a lot of the people that it's going to affect, maybe they don't take it anyways. Even if they allow it, doesn't mean they have to do it. So,
That's right.
when do you have enough?
That's right.
That's a question. But when you're that senior, seniority wise, not senior in the age sense, but senior as far as your line number, it's hard to quit. Top of the food chain.
Best part-time job ever.
Okay. Hawaiian Airlines invests in sea gliders that can maybe go across the sea from island to island. That's super interesting. And United Airlines, this could be a lead topic too. United Airlines and its pilots union have reached an agreement on new contract terms.
Wow.
Yeah.
Agreement in principle? Is that what that would be?
They said an agreement on the contract terms is what I saw. You and I are familiar with the agreement in principle, but I'm a little foggy on this. They said it hasn't been written yet. So I don't know where they stand, but CEO Scott Kirby, Academy grad, United Airlines said United Airlines was the only airline to work with our pilots union to reach an agreement during COVID. It's not surprising that we are now the first airline to get an agreement in principle. There you go. Agreement in principle for an industry-leading new pilot contract. So, shout out to our United brothers and sisters out there. That's awesome. They're doing that, and obviously Delta Airlines, Southwest Airlines, and American Airlines are still in negotiations with pilot unions, which have organized pickets in recent months to protest grueling.
Hey, I'm going to throw down with the prediction. You ready?
Yeah.
We don't get to predict in the financial. Yeah, we don't get to predict in the financial world. So I'm going to predict in the airline world that Southwest Airlines will have a contract by November.
Of what year?
This year.
Ooh. What?
Yep. Mark it, write it down.
Oh my gosh.
It'll be.
I've got it noted.
It's been etched in stone. Rob,
noted.
your guess. Your turn.
Noted.
If you want to throw a guess out there, you don't have to, but Rob.
That's right.
Oh, I might say November of next year.
Yeah.
I don't know.
November 2022.
What do I know? Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. I'm glad that they're getting some progress is being made. Hopefully there.
Hopefully.
But there's talk of pay raises, maybe an increase in their direct contribution, defined contribution plan, and maybe some must-ride passes for commuters, which would be huge.
That would be incredible.
Yeah.
That's a game changer. I'm coming back if that happens.
You'll hear it here about probably 31st when it comes out, but we'll have it. We'll cover it.
31st. I know one thing. They're trying to steal all of our clients away. Our retired pilot clients are trying to steal them away, going back to the Sims. They need sim instructors. Bad.
The Sims. That's right. They asked you, right, Charlie? They didn't ask.
Oh yeah.
You.
They're not recruiting me as heavily as I would have expected. They were kind of
champagne caviar.
They're kind of like, well, if you want to apply, you can. That was kind of the, I thought the recruitment might be a little more aggressive with me, but evidently,
apparently not.
You can try to apply, is what I think I heard somebody say to me.
Nice. Well, we got more news. Let's jump into the Q&A. Charlie, you want to kick us off with a little Q&A? This is the new format.
Well, as you all know, unless you've been in a cave, it is a rough year for the markets, both of them. We just had the worst quarter for bonds that we've had in 50 years, approximately. And so we're having it's kind of one of those times where usually you have one that goes down and the other kind of provides a little bit of ballast for the boat, that being bonds, and that's not happening right now. So it's a real tough time. So we're getting a lot of questions on that. And we're trying to communicate as much as possible to clients and on what to do, what we think about it. But one of the questions we get is interesting. It says, hey, I just put $50,000-ish in a 401k and it's gone. Explain that one to me. And so it certainly appears that as you put money into your accounts, your IRAs, your 401ks, it's like, well, is it gone? It's gone. My balance went down by more than what I put in there. So it's this seemingly one step forward, two steps back kind of thing. But what I think helps me as an investor to frame that question is understand that when I put money in the markets, I'm buying shares of companies. Oftentimes we see these mutual funds with these goofy titles. And last week, Ben, you and I were at a conference and they said, well, we don't even know why we named this mutual fund this way. We just don't have the imagination. They're just a bunch of nerdy people that are trying to name funds and they don't make sense. So when we as investors see these weird titles that we don't even know what they are and they're going down, my money's disappearing, seemingly, temporary price decline, then it feels like this, I should sell that. Hey, that thing is goofy. I don't understand the title, sell it. It's gone down. Well, what that really is are good companies that you own. And when you invest your monthly savings, whatever it might be, you're buying more shares of companies. I think that's just super basic, but sometimes watching that money, again, air quotes here, seemingly disappear is very stressful.
Yeah, you still own the shares, and selling now that will make it worth nothing. So at least you bought in and traded cash for ownership in the company. You better, and all of a sudden now the ownership may be worth a little bit less, but you sell out, it'll be worth nothing. So basically,
yeah. Speaking of being worth nothing, let's talk about the Terra and the crypto crash. Ben, what do we got?
Oh, man.
Oh, Bitcoin Jesus.
Come on, put your Bitcoin Jesus hat on.
Okay, all right. It's more like a dunce cap now.
Speaking of predictions, is my prediction still holding up when I called the top?
It is. It is pretty much. You did pretty well. You did pretty well. I like to think I did pretty well too because I listened to you calling the top. So thank you. But
thank you, Godfather.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been crazy. And what's interesting is, they say crypto is this big inflation hedge, and I haven't seen that to be the case. Where's the intrinsic value? What's going on with it? And I was reading about this story recently with Crypto.com. You may have seen some of their Super Bowl commercials with I think it was Matt Damon was in there doing the Super. You dare to be brave. He's walking in a space suit.
Good job, Matt.
Hype. What is going on? Yeah. Well, that whole thing was obviously it's taking a beating right now. Crypto.com spent all this money on advertising. They own the naming rights to the Lakers arena, and now it's the Crypto.com arena and all this stuff. Well, they were doing this big advertisement where if you put in money, if you give them your coins, you stake your coins, and you basically are letting them buy and sell your coin or sell your coins to other people and use them as their bank. And you promise them you will not sell, then they'll give you like 6% interest or 7% interest or whatever. And if you got a debit card by them and you bought money, it was somehow, it was tied to these stable coins and you got this interest back. Well, immediately, basically like 2 months after the Super Bowl, they cut all the rates. They were giving these outrageous rates for these cards. And so people put in a bunch of money into these cards. So they got the nice cards with the 6%, 8%, whatever. And then they were like, oh shoot, we just spent hundreds of $millions on naming rights for a stadium and getting Matt Damon to be in our Super Bowl commercial, and now we can't pay those rates. And they just did it. And there's nothing you can do. They have your money still, and they say they're going to give you this interest rate. And
when I think about solid financial advice, I think Matt Damon and Good Will Hunting. Just makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So I think HBO's John Oliver on the Last Week Tonight, whatever they call that show, said it best, right? Ben, remember this last week? Everything you don't understand about money combined with everything you don't understand about computers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just awesome.
Maybe we can get Matt on the show, see what he thinks about all this.
Oh, he got paid in US dollars, I believe. He was like, actually, I'll take US dollars.
I don't want your crypto.
But dare to be brave.
Yes. Yeah. Dare to be brave. Nice cowbell. Okay, break. Hey, speaking of which, cowbell, I got a little point of fact for you. I do these for Charlie and Kevin and for our team, not for myself. I don't even know if I like them. So let us know if you don't like our commercials. Anyway, break. You might have heard this one before, but here it comes again. Getting ready to spend some time with your family over the summer. This is one of the reasons why money is important, which we're going to cover a little bit later. It's to give you time with those you love. Knowing your retirement and life goals are on track can have a positive impact on you and your family. We stand ready as fiduciaries to provide objective fee-only financial planning and investment management. Hit us up at info@leadingedgeplanning.com, 865-240-2292 on the old telephone, or leadingedgeplanning.com. Enough of that. Let's get to it. Let's go. Okay, before we get into this, let's get in the right mind frame.
Whoa.
And so we're going to lean on Mr. Neil Diamond. Probably should be a doctor as well.
yeah.
Sing a song.
The lyrics, money talks, but it don't sing and dance and it don't walk. And as long as I have you here with me, I'd much rather be forever in blue jeans. Honey sweet, but it ain't nothing next to baby's treat. And if you'd pardon me, I'd like to say we'd do okay forever in blue jeans. Charlie, take it away.
Nice. Oh,
How do you follow that?
good
clap for
job.
that
I don't
one.
know,
Wow.
but good job getting through that without shedding a tear. I don't know how you do
Well, I didn't.
it. Oh, too funny.
For
I
a
don't-
second
I
there,
never-
I thought you were Neil
I
Diamond.
know. I don't quite know or remember thinking about the lyrics of that song, but anyway, it was good. Good stuff. So today we're going to talk about what are you investing in your other than investments? You know, we talk about investing all the time, but there are other things to invest in, such as your time, your effort, your energies. What is your definition of success? You know, I was asked that. I'll never forget. I was in ROTC while you were over there doing the real deal at the academy. I was piddling around with the ROTC crowd at University of Tennessee, and I walked in the office, and the guy, the commandant of cadets, he was a captain at the time, and Kevin Kilpatrick, what a great dude. But anyway, we went on to serve together at other places. He said, Charlie, what is your definition of success? And I was a sophomore in college, and I was like, what are you talking about? To make as much money as humanly possible, of course. What else is there? No, that's not what I said. And I don't know what I said, but I probably thought about that for the next several years. Like, what is my definition of true success? And is it, you know, having this trophy on the wall, i.e. money, when we retire? And of course, money helps us to do things and removes obstacles and helps us to have a positive influence. But boy, there's a lot more to it than just that, right? So that's kind of what we're going to talk about today.
I'm excited about this one.
Absolutely.
Okay. Here's a
Set the
story.
stage.
You probably have heard it, but we're going to repeat it for you. And this is a son talking to his dad. He says, Daddy, may I ask you a question? Yeah, sure. What is it? Daddy, how much do you make an hour? That's none of your business. Why do you ask such a thing? I just want to know. Please tell me, how much do you make an hour? If you must know, I make $100 an hour. Oh, with his head down. Daddy, may I please borrow $50? The father was not happy. If the only reason you ask that how much I make is so you can borrow some money to buy a toy or some other nonsense, then you march yourself straight to your room and go to bed. Think about why you're being so selfish. I work hard every day for such things, and this is childish behavior. The little boy went quietly to his room and shut the door. The man sat down and started to get even angrier about the little boy's questions. How dare he ask such questions only to get some money? After about an hour or so, the man calmed down and started to think. Maybe there was something he really needed to buy with that $50, and he really didn't ask for money that often. The man went to the door of the little boy's room and opened the door. Are you asleep, son? No, Daddy, I'm awake. I'm awake. Sorry, I'm getting choked up already. I've been thinking about, the dad said, maybe I was a little too hard on you earlier. It's been a long day and I took out my aggravation on you. Here's the $50 you asked for. The little boy sat up straight, smiling. Oh, thank you, Daddy. Then he reached under his pillow and pulled out some crumpled up bills. The man saw that the boy already had money and started to get angry again. The little boy slowly counted out his money and then looked up at his dad. Why do you want more money if you already have some? The dad asked. Because I didn't have enough, but now I do. Daddy, I have $100. Can I buy an hour of your time? Please come home early so we can throw the ball together. The father was crushed, put his arms around his son, and begged for forgiveness. That's the moral of the story right there. I
That's awesome.
got a little choked up, so sorry about that.
That's
But
it.
guys, what do you think?
Boy, that's it. Who defines success in our lives? You know, if we look through our kids' eyes, at what they think success is for us, I bet it would be vastly different than what we think it is sometimes.
Yeah.
That's a good story. Ben, how do you define success in your life?
I'm going through a lot of change right now in my life as far as my future and marriage down the road and, starting a family and all that. And so it's definitely changing. It definitely at one time had a monetary amount on it, and to some degree it still does, but more of what that allows you to do. And I like to think I would definitely trade money for time with my friends and family and experiences and having good experiences and creating good memories. And that's really what I want. And I think if I can do that in life, then I'll be successful. If I can create memories with my friends and family.
Yeah. I asked my wife, and she had a pretty good answer. I thought she just said, if I have peace and happiness, that's all I need.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. And sometimes it's hard because you have to have some level of, you can't just, like you said before the show, Rob, you can't just go drink beer and, throw caution to the wind, quit your job, et cetera. So that's not what we're saying, but it does require some financial responsibility, some financial resources. But at the same time, it's easy to lose sight that is not the end itself. It's the means to an end, as we say. And I think success too is if we don't clearly understand what our values are, we go down this path that we think is the definition of success. And I think athletes, I've heard them on podcasts say, hey, I got to the point where I was this hero in this Super Bowl. I kicked the winning field goal. We won the Super Bowl. And in fact, it's a New England Patriots kicker. I can't remember his name, and he said, after that game, I was devastated because I had reached the pinnacle. I was the hero as much as a kicker can be. And I was not satisfied with that success. It's not what I thought it was going to be. And oh, by the way, then you just go, well, what's next? The next year, the next Super Bowl, the next year, the next achievement. When does it end? And it's this never-ending quest if we don't know exactly what it means for us, each individually. And I think that's kind of a concept I think is powerful.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of a little bit of Tom Brady. He's back for another year. I know he's done some soul searching on that, but I heard one of the puns. It's a little funny. It's not true, but they're like, Tom doesn't like his family. He's got to go to work too much. He just wants to go back to work.
We've heard that before, haven't we?
Yeah. And, so for me, I've said this before, but I'll say it again. Happiness, I kind of tie happiness, success all in the same little pretty bow because I'm a simple-minded person, but it's doing what I want, when I want, with the people I want, for as long as I want. And again, like you said, Charlie, that doesn't mean I'm out there, just doing it to excess. Anything in excess, I think, is not good for me. That's what I've found in my life, at least. There's a sweet spot for everything. How much I do financial planning, how much I fly, how much even the good things like, spending time with family. I think there's a point where, the saying absence makes the heart grow fonder can actually be a true statement. And limiting what you're doing and the time you spend on those activities, I think is important, at least for me. And everyone defines success and happiness their own way. But even vacations, I went to Hawaii. I was done with Hawaii at that point. I was ready to be done, come back and do something else. So I think, living and doing things, but, tempering them a little bit and not overdoing them is important. You get the most goodness, the most out of your life when you maybe, pare it down a little bit, but you have to do enough. And I think that ties to money too. You have to make enough money, to live a comfortable life and do the things you want to do. But, what do you guys think?
I think too, like your definition of success will change over time. I think being in tune with your own definition of success and thinking about that often, especially when you're reevaluating your goals. And, we try and do that with everybody when we go through financial planning, because it does tie into your financial life, and you have to plan out, to have good success in your life. You can't just, like you said, throw caution to the wind. You do need some planning around it, and financials are a part of that.
Along those lines, money doesn't sing and it doesn't dance.
Yeah.
So money isn't the end result. It's just a means to an end.
I love this concept of, we talked at the beginning about investing, and we talk about investing all the time, investing money, what's the return? But there's so many other things we can invest in. And it's the old biblical saying, you reap what you sow. That's almost become a cliche because we say it so much, but it really is powerful in that you get a return for what you invest in. And so what are we investing in when our time, with our energy? And for me, a big one is my mind. What am I watching on TV? What am I watching and taking in on social media? Who am I hanging around with? Those things to me are investments. What am I doing in I don't know if you're involved in your community. Tip of the hat, as you would say, Rob, to my brother Clint. He just won his election in his town. So
Congratulations, Clint.
He's a new property value assessor, Bullitt County. And so he invested in his community big time. And so now it's just very fulfilling for him to have that impact. We've invested in the military and being a part of something that was bigger than us, investing in charities. Sometimes we overlook because they do attribute hugely to our success. And sometimes we get wrapped up in things that are not, the return is not that good sometimes.
Yeah, I would say, Charlie, too, doing those things, if you don't know maybe what success looks like in your life, if you're confused about it, go and volunteer, go and help people or spend your time helping out your community. And I think you'll quickly find what it means to you and what is important to you.
That's right.
If you do those kind of things.
Yeah, I think, Ben, that reminds me of one of the things that I read before we came on today. I started recording, and it said, are you successful right now and you just don't know it? Are you on a never-ending quest for something that you already have? And I think until you really take inventory or maybe get a new perspective, like you said, Ben, boy, talk about a perspective. Rob, you've been through trials and tribulations in your life, and we've gotten a window into a world in our own family through the fostering system, and just went to Africa to talk about a new perspective.
You
feel pretty wealthy when you see some of those things and your perspective changes. You feel really wealthy sometimes in a different definition, maybe even successful as a definition too, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of when we take on what other people's definition of success is for us is when we end up getting into trouble. But I think at the core, we are all very similar in what we want and what we need. And
Ben, I like what you said earlier. When we take people through a financial planning process, we're just hugely focused on people's goals and what's important to them, and we want to know how they tick because we think we can give better advice if we know those things. We think we can be more of a trusted partner. And one of the things that we love to do is just help people. And we have a process and we try to guide people through a clear understanding of what success is to them. Because it's different for a lot of people. And if you don't have that clear understanding, you will not know how to invest your time, your talents, or your money until you have that understanding of what your values are, what your definition of success is. And so that's really what it's important to us as a firm. And that's why our job is so fun. So
and if that's one of those scenarios and practices that I think is an art form for sure, but we get into, Charlie, and hopefully helping people, they already knows what their values are or they define those values. And then that helps them with their goals because hopefully their goals fall in line. You have your values and that drives your goals. And then we can work backward from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Got a quote here that I thought was really amazing because it says, Ben, you and I talked last week about how we kind of create our own reality with some of our thoughts and some of the things that we take in and some of the things that we in our lives.
Yeah.
You got to be really careful about that. Again, it's about guarding kind of what goes into your mind and your psyche. But one of the quotes I like is your beliefs become your thoughts become your words become your actions become your habits, and your habits become your values, and your values become your destiny. And that's Gandhi had said that, and there's other versions of that out there, but it kind of makes sense. Hey, what is on my mind, that becomes my reality. and that's where it starts. So it's pretty fascinating.
I know we do quotes and we love quotes, but that reminded me, and I don't know why it reminded me of, but Naval Ravikant had the quote, "A fit body, a calm mind, a house full of love. These things cannot be bought, they must be earned." And I thought that was kind of along those lines.
That's awesome. So like Rob, for you, what is a vision? We all talk about what's our vision of success. We have multiple visions, you know what I mean? And maybe I have a vision for something in a couple of years and in 10 years and 20 years, but share a vision of what success is to you 20 years down the road, maybe. You look back and you go, man, these things went well. I'm proud of what I did. What does that look like?
Yeah. I think to me, it means, just spreading. Sounds so hokey. I can't even say it with a straight face, but it just is, spreading goodness to those around me and hope that it spreads through the world. What that looks like, for me, obviously is just having hopefully a good personality and helping people get through their travels, obviously in the flying world and doing that as a professional pilot, but also, just as importantly, is the financial planning, helping them align their money and their values with their goals. And that, hopefully I'm able to reach enough people, hopefully a little bit through this podcast.
Yeah.
Hopefully, the tens of people that are listening to this will turn to hundreds. Or maybe there's only 3 listening. Thanks, Mom, for listening. Appreciate it. For me, it's just, spreading goodness and hopefully that takes on, spreads like wildfire and ripples throughout time, because I'm not arrogant enough to think that when I pass, if I'm even here in 20 years, hopefully I will be, but if not, I'm not arrogant enough to think that I'm going to be remembered more than a couple of generations, right? That's going to come and go. But the feelings that hopefully you create when you're around other people and spreading that light, as hokey as it sounds, hopefully that ripples and spreads on, and that's what lasts. Because after, hopefully the people I care about and love, they remember me, but that's only going to last a couple generations and then it's gone. So, but this podcast is going to last forever, probably.
Unless this podcast, remains. I remember a client said, he goes, hey, and he's one of our retired clients. He said, hey, I'm on my back patio with my kids, adult kids now. Wife's here, kids are here. We're just hanging out on the back deck here overlooking this lake. And then when he said that, it was like a light bulb moment for me. I was thinking, man, first of all, it sounds, I don't know, maybe trivial, maybe common. It sounds common. But sometimes in life, keeping all your kids together, keeping all those relationships, there have been times, I got to tell you, I'm like, man, I hope my 16-year-old likes me in a few years. It's sometimes you're like, man, that's a big accomplishment when your kids come back as adults and they want to spend time with you. I know people, and Rob and Ben, I'm sure you do too, where they have some estranged relationships with the kids that are broken. It's hard to mend that, but that is a value, definitely, Ben, that I share, a vision of success, that my kids like me enough to come back one day. So
this is like, totally not as touchy-feely, Charlie, but along those lines, and I've stolen this from people I've talked to, but flying with other folks, they've said they've gone out and bought that vacation home that they knew their kids would always like to come back to, and it's been that anchor that draws them back. And so money for me is that I'm gonna use it to bribe my kids to come back and see us. So
that's funny. That's a great point.
And it is, and it requires that balance too, because just like the poem you read where the kid's buying his dad's time, sometimes we have to sacrifice making more money. A lot of us airline pilots are famous for saying, I can't leave any money on the table. And yes, you can. You have to leave it on the table. Leave it behind and don't have any regrets. That's easier said than done, because I've felt it before when I was giving up trips and I'm sitting at home on a Saturday thinking, I'm losing money by sitting here with my family. I mean, that's a terrible way to think, but that's sometimes what we're driven into thinking, Rob.
Yeah, so. It reminds me of another quote. You have to do hard things to create your own meaning in life. The meaning in life is not always getting the money off the table.
That's right.
Going out there and leaving it, creating good experiences with your family.
Absolutely. I love it. I love what you said too, Rob, about like, I want to be known as the guy that, I was thinking encouraging when you were talking, because it's like pouring into other people or encouraging. We don't encourage each other enough. We don't compliment each other enough. And what a big change that would make. And it's like in the business world, I can tell you this, business books will say this all the time. It's free. Do it. Encourage each other. Encourage people you work with and work for and people that work for you. It's absolutely the most rewarding thing someone can hear. It can be potentially life-changing, maybe life-saving, heck, I don't know. The occasional simple encouragement.
Yeah.
Rob, I remember flying and we'd land and captain would say something like, hey, you did a great job there in holding. I don't know, something stupid really, and it sounds stupid now, but I was like, man, that was really cool.
Yeah.
And it feels silly sometimes to encourage and compliment like that, but it means a lot. I don't know why.
It does. And sometimes I think we try to feel like, oh, we're too tough. It doesn't matter, but it does matter.
Yeah.
It matters when people give you compliments or you give compliments to other people.
That's right.
Except Cowbell. I don't like giving him compliments on his podcasting. It's really terrible.
Yeah.
I mean,
we got a few of those compliments, while you weren't here.
I know. I think there was like a coup. There was almost a coup, Rob. Like
I'm not giving it up. You can't take the microphone away from me.
my cold
Look,
dead
I
hand.
tried to stop. I said, no more compliments, please, people.
That's right.
Please, no more.
Let's just let this take its course.
Yeah.
All right. I think. How's
One
that?
last quote, Charlie. This
Yes.
one, it's the same. It's kind of like what I was talking about there a little bit. The world just reflects your own feelings back to you.
Wow.
Reality is neutral.
That's amazing, and that's a good one to end on. I always think too, what do I want people to thank me for on my deathbed? As they come up and tell me some last thoughts, hey, thank you for this. What is that? And I think, Rob, I share what you said is this, like, man, I just want to be known as the person that was sincere, that was poured into other people, and so I think that's a pretty big deal, and that takes a lot of intention and effort. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I love it. Ben, any
that.
final thoughts?
I've got a lot of stuff I need to think about now. I'm like, what is my vision? What is
That's right.
What
Get
do
a vision.
I want to be familiar with or remembered for? So, yeah.
Well, it's a
Get a
loop.
vision.
I think hopefully this encourages all of us to relook at that and get answers, and those will come and go, and that's part of it. So hopefully you feel energized after this.
That's right.
Flight 34, Forever in Blue Jeans podcast. That's it. We hope you enjoyed the ride. We're going to leave you, of course, with a couple quotes, as if we haven't said enough already. But this one you'll have heard before, most likely. Once you have tasted flight, you will forever walk the earth with your eyes turned skyward. For there you have been, and there you will always long to return. Leonardo da Vinci, of course, said that.
Before
this
anybody flew.
Yeah.
That was before anybody flew. That's incredible.
Yeah, isn't that you just blew my mind.
Sorry to interrupt there. I just,
This one,
Full circle.
Yeah, full circle by Ajith Kumar. Aren't we all dreamers? It's only because man dreamt of flight that we are traveling in planes. Behind all inventions, we see the dreams of people. That's it. As always, if you enjoyed the podcast, click the subscribe button and leave us a review so we can hopefully help more people. And remember, as Emerson said, the world makes way for those who know where they're going. So plan accordingly. From all of us at Leading Edge, we wish you smooth landings, smooth rides, and soft landings. That's it.
love it.